Sea levels are rising around the globe at around 4.8 millimeters every year. Glaciers and ice sheets are melting due to global warming. And climate scientists estimate that the average temperature on Earth could increase from the current 14 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius. At this pace, you would witness devastating floods on coastal lands, and parts of the world would be entirely lost to the sea. If all the world's glaciers and ice sheets melted, sea levels would rise an astonishing 65 meters. Farewell to the Maldives, Singapore, and Denmark. The 37 million people living in those areas would have to evacuate and head for higher elevations. In North America, the entire Atlantic seaboard would vanish. That means Disney World in Florida would be an underwater world. Europe would say goodbye to many of its cities. Venice would become a modern-day Atlantis. And London's Big Ben would now strike midnight from underwater. Large parts of Asia would be devastated by the swelling seas. Nearly 800 million people would lose their homes in China, India, and Bangladesh. You'd be the lucky one if you lived in Africa, where large parts of land would be spared from global flooding. Unfortunately, the world would lose one of the ancient wonders, the Great Pyramid of Giza. It would be swamped by the Mediterranean. But flooding of the continents would only be the tip of the iceberg. The world would also lose 90% of its fresh water. Yeah, this is how much is stored in the Antarctic ice sheet. This ice water would mix with the ocean and dramatically disrupt its salt levels. Many aquatic animals that have evolved to live in salt water would go extinct. And there's more bad news. The glacial freshwater stores some toxic chemicals like DDT, and the Arctic permafrost has as much mercury as everywhere else on the planet combined. As these toxic chemicals and elements ended up at rivers, lakes, and groundwater reserves, they would poison many people. The melting of the permafrost would also be a feast for microorganisms that feed on the organic matter frozen inside. These organisms will, pardon my French, fart out a lot of greenhouse gases that could cause a global temperature rise of 3.5 degrees Celsius. Listen, most of life on Earth would not survive this disaster, but scientists estimate that all of the Earth's ice wouldn't melt overnight. If climate change keeps going at the same rate, it will take 5,000 years. But if we begin to make serious changes to our climate policies, maybe we could avoid it altogether.